welcome to another episode of One Drink 3 YouTube Bartenders. Today I'm teaming up with Gnome's Tavern and the Manhattan Project. We decided to do something tropical for our cocktail. We landed on the Singapore Sling. It's a delicious tiki cocktail that stands out from the typical tiki cocktail because it uses gin instead of rum. I'll show you my version of the Singapore Sling. Then we'll check in with the other two channels. Now, you may have seen Gnome on one of my other episodes, but the Manhattan Project is a new participant. Jesse and Todd of the Manhattan Project can make any kind of Manhattan you'd imagine. They've done cookie dough Manhattans, peanut butter Manhattans. They just kind of go wild with it. They make other types of cocktails too. I can't wait to see what kind of Singapore Sling they come up with. And of course, you can always count on Gnome to do something fun and creative. So I'll start out by showing you mine. I kind of use the Death & Co. spec as a base, but I've made this so much I've kind of made my own tweaks over the years. And I'm going to start out with 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of gin. I'm using Roku today because it's what I happen to have. I usually use Beefeater, but I think either will work great. Next, we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce or 22 milliliters of Cherry Heering. But as you can see, I'm using this Luxardo Sangue Morlocco as a substitution. It's a pretty good substitution if you can't find Cherry Heering. And the name means warrior blood, so I thought that was pretty cool. Next, we're going to add about 1/4 of an ounce or 8 milliliters of Benedictine. 1/4 of an ounce or about 8 milliliters of Cointreau. Then, instead of the typical pineapple juice, I am going to use 3 ounces or about 90 milliliters of this passion fruit juice. Passion fruit juice is usually a pretty good substitution for pineapple juice. It's a little less sweet. The original Singapore Sling recipe, I think it used like 4 ounces of juice, and more modern adaptations take 2, so that's why I do 3. It's kind of in the middle. Next, 3/4 of an ounce or about 22 milliliters of freshly squeezed lime juice. Next, about 1/4 of an ounce of Grenadine, or if you have something like this hibiscus syrup, substitute. I'm actually going to do somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of an ounce, just because I like this stuff. I'm going to put some pebble ice in my shaker. I'm also going to put some in my glass. Give it a quick shake. And usually with these tiki cocktails with pebble ice, I just dump the ice and everything, and I always like to top off my tiki drinks with a little extra pebble. And then, you know, like, it's a tiki drink, so you have to have a fun garnish. I've got a couple moonshine cherries, a lime, some dried citrus, and there's our Singapore Sling. Give this a taste. That's delicious. I've had this one plenty of times. It's one of my favorite tiki drinks. It's really good with the passion fruit juice and the hibiscus syrup. It's a nice little change from the original. So let's see what Gnome's Tavern and the Manhattan Project can come up with. Cheers.
So this is going to be a riff on the Singapore Sling. I call it the French Quarter Sling because I was looking at a lot of the ingredients and there were a lot of French ingredients. And I was introduced to the Spanish brandy. Now, the Singapore Sling comes with gin, and I saw the Spanish brandy, and it kind of had some floral and fruity notes that I really wanted to try it into this cocktail, and it worked! And the joke in the French Quarter is actually the French Quarter should be called the Spanish Quarter. When Spain ruled over New Orleans, there was 2 massive fires in the New Orleans city that they had to rebuild the city and put in Spanish architecture in there. So we're gonna be like the French Quarter. We're gonna have some Spanish, some French, and some tropical notes. So let's start shaking up this very big cocktail. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do 4 ounces of pineapple juice. Now I already took 2 ounces of pineapple juice out of this pineapple juice can, so I'm just gonna pour this whole thing in there. You can do fresh pineapple juice and squeeze it. I'm pretty busy these days, so I'm gonna do it out of the can. Don't judge me too hard. Or judge me, I need more comments. We're gonna do 1/3 of an ounce of hibiscus syrup. Now, this is the hibiscus syrup from a New Orleans distillery I work at called Happy Raptor Distillery. So we're gonna put in that 1/3 of an ounce of hibiscus. Now we're gonna do half an ounce of cherry liqueur. Love this stuff. Do a half an ounce of cherry liqueur. Bam! Then we're gonna get some of our French ingredients. We're gonna do 1/4 an ounce of Cointreau. This is made in France, at least that's what the label says. Yep, France. Make sure, just double check it. It's always good to double check the Gnome. The Gnome gets a little crazy sometimes. And then we're gonna do 1/4 an ounce of Benedictine. Oop, that's a little bit more, but that's okay. This is our drink. We're living loose, we're living fly. And then we're gonna do a full ounce of Spanish brandy. Now, one thing that makes Spanish brandy different from other brandies is that it's made in Spain. And it is also, too, made with a certain grape that gives it a floral note. So I thought this would be a good substitution if you're not a big gin drinker. Then you will probably love this cocktail a little bit more than the regular Singapore Sling. And because the Gnome made it, that's why you like it more, right? Now, we're going to, instead of Angostura bitters, we're going to use the Peychaud's bitters. And we're going to do 2 dashes of Peychaud's. 1, 2. We're going to do one more. All right, let's shake this sucker up, and we're going to pour it out. All right, so since we're in the French court, we're going to have our Voodoo Bird. And we're just going to do a dirty pour. We're going to add more ice into it, so we really don't need to strain this. It's totally fine. So we're going to do a dirty pour into our cool Voodoo Bird Tiki drink. Thank you, in-laws, for getting me this one. And we're going to stuff it with ice. Now that we need more in the drink, we're going to put our straw in. We have a dehydrated lime right here, too. And that is going to be the French Quarter Sling. This Tiki mug's pretty deep, so let's give it a try. I love it. It's like a less sweet hurricane. All the different flavors come through. It's nice, it's like fruity, but it's very flowery with the Peychaud's bitters and the Spanish brandy. You get some of those great notes that I like it. I actually drank one while I was waiting for more pebbled ice to be made, so I knew this was gonna be a great drink. Check out the other drinks, and don't forget to always tip your bartender, and cheers. Are you guys ready for an explosive drink? Because we're gonna enjoy the Manhattan Project.
Welcome back, guys. We got a little something special for you today. We're doing a little collaboration with a couple of our friends at some of the other channels out there. We're going to be making a Singapore Sling, and I'm going to toss it over to Todd to tell you a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so we're doing this with our friends Gnome at Gnome's Tavern and Bonnie at One Drink 3 Bars. We're excited about this. This is our first collaboration of this type. Yeah. So I'm gonna leave exit stage right or left and kick it over to Jesse to make this cocktail. Later.
All right, yeah. So Singapore Sling. The best part about this cocktail is that you don't need very many ingredients. Just these 8 and some limes for some lime juice. So yeah, so I'm gonna clear this off, set up, and we'll get rocking.
Move, bitch, get out the way, get out the way.
Contrary to our normal freshly squeezed fruit juices, I am gonna actually cut and juice the limes for this cocktail so we can keep this a little bit more authentic. So we'll time lapse through a little bit of this, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut these, squeeze them, and then we'll go from there. So now let's make the cocktail.
1.5 ounces of gin. 1/4 ounce Cherry Heering. 1/4 ounce triple sec. 1/4 ounce Benedictine. 3/4 ounce pineapple juice. 1 ounce lime juice. 1 dash Angostura bitters. 1 dash orange bitters. 1/4 ounce Grenadine.
Add some ice to your tin. Add your cocktail. Good to the last drop. Pop your top on. Let's give it a shake. Shake it. Grab a Collins glass with some ice. And we're gonna pour our cocktail about 2/3 of the way. Add a little club soda and pour in the rest of your cocktail. A little straw, garnish with a couple cherries. And there you have it, Singapore Sling. Cheers, guys. Get in here.
Ooh, pick me, pick me.
That is fantastic.
Coming in. Oh yeah. Tropical, sweet, sour, everything you want in a cocktail.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice dry tiki style cocktail. You know, you guys can garnish this with you know, an orange, a lime. We kept it simple. You know, kind of homage to the channel with just the cherries, but it's a solid cocktail. It's fantastic. It's really tasty. It's very well balanced.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Gnome. We love this challenge.
thank you guys.
Peace.
I'd like to thank Gnome and the Manhattan Project for their awesome variations on the Singapore Sling. Which of the 3 cocktails do you think you'd like the most? I've actually prepared one in the style of the Manhattan Project, and it's really good. It has a similar flavor profile to the one I did, but it's a little lighter and easier to drink. If you haven't already subscribed to Gnome's Tavern and the Manhattan Project, I suggest you check those channels out ASAP. I'll add a couple links to the end screen so you can check out their videos as well. We'd also like to know what kind of drinks you'd like to see us make in the future. Leave a comment below. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers!